There comes a time in every person's life when he must stand up, not just to the world, but to himself. A time when he must decide that he will no longer wait for the world's approval to act, no longer ask for permission to live with purpose, no longer seek the comfort of a nod from the crowd before stepping into his destiny. If you wait for someone to grant you permission to become great, you will wait forever. The truth is, nobody is coming to hand you the keys to your dreams. Nobody is going to open the gates to the life you imagine. The gates are locked from within, and only you hold the key the moment you move, not in hesitation, not in apology, but in certainty. Your life begins to shift. You send a message to the unseen forces of the universe that you are no longer playing small. You declare by your action that you belong in the realm of the uncommon, and the world starts to rearrange itself in your favor. You see, history has never been changed by those who waited. It has been shaped by those who acted. Those who moved before the rules said it was allowed. Those who started the business without credentials. Who began the mission before the roadmap was complete. Who spoke the truth before it was popular. Who ran toward the mountain when everyone else waited for the trail to be cleared. They did not ask, "May I?" They said, "I will." And therein lies the power. Every man and woman who has transformed their world began by giving themselves permission. Permission to be bold, permission to fail, permission to rise, permission to try when others trembled in doubt, permission to believe when belief was a risk. You must learn to act from the strength of your own conviction. When your spirit tells you to move, move. When your heart whispers a dream to you, listen. That whisper is sacred. It is not an accident. It is the call of purpose trying to reach you, but it will never shout. It will never override your fear. It will sit quietly, waiting for you to choose courage over compliance. Too many live as prisoners, not behind iron bars, but within invisible walls built by fear of rejection. They wait for society, for family, for friends to say, "It's okay, you can go now." But the world rarely gives you that luxury. If you must wait for others to approve, you will live your entire life at half speed. Listen carefully. You are not here to play the supporting role in someone else's script. You are not here to fit neatly inside the expectations of people who settled for mediocrity. You are here to create. You are here to break through. You are here to do what hasn't been done. You want your life to change, then move toward the challenge, move toward your dream. Move even when your legs shake and your voice trembles. Action is the spark that ignites transformation. Don't ask if it's allowed. Don't wait for the timing to be perfect. Move in faith. Move in fire. Move in spite of fear. The people you admire didn't wait for an invitation. They built the door, kicked it open, and walked through. Some will criticize you. Let them. That is the price of progress. They do not see your vision because it was not given to them. It was given to you, and that vision is your responsibility. Every day you wait, it dims. Every step you take, it grows clearer. The transformation of your life does not begin when the world says go. It begins the moment you decide to move, and the more you move without seeking approval, the more powerful you become. So make a decision today. No more waiting, no more asking, no more shrinking to fit inside a life that was never meant for you. Move without permission, and watch your life change in ways you never imagined possible. The majority of men live their entire lives under the illusion that they must be granted permission to act. They wait for someone to validate their worth before they attempt anything bold. They ask the world, "Am I allowed to dream this big? May I begin?" And the world, being far too preoccupied with its own fears, offers them nothing in return but silence. That silence becomes the cage in which their potential dies. You must understand this immutable truth. The world does not owe you permission. No one is coming with a certificate of approval. No one will anoint you as the chosen one. If you wish to rise above mediocrity, you must declare your own worth. approve of your own ideas, and give yourself the authority to act. That declaration must come from within, not without. The tragedy of human existence is not in failure. It is in hesitation. It is in waiting. Waiting for someone to tell you that now is the right time. Waiting for someone to pat you on the back and say, "You've got what it takes." But time waits for no man, and dreams, when neglected, begin to decay. They do not sit idly on the shelf. They fade, they rot, they disappear. And what causes this tragic delay? It is fear. Fear of disapproval, fear of rejection, fear of stepping outside the lines that others have drawn. But let me remind you, the lines drawn by the crowd were never drawn for your benefit. They were sketched by those who feared too much to walk beyond them. Their limitations are not your boundaries. Their doubts are not your truth. Their fear is not your guide. You must not ask for permission to become what you were meant to be. That right was given to you the moment you were born. It was etched into your soul the moment life breathed into your lungs. But the world quickly covers that fire with layers of doubt, rules, opinions, and invisible chains of conformity. If you do not rise and shake them off, you will live beneath your potential, never knowing the heights you could have reached. Every man who has ever achieved anything of significance did so not because he was permitted, but because he refused to be denied. He moved in defiance of doubt. He acted when others hesitated. He claimed his right to live fully, to dream wildly, and to execute relentlessly. You must cultivate the courage to do the same. When the world says, "Wait," say "No, now." When they tell you it can't be done, say, "Watch me." When they laugh, when they mock, when they call your dream foolish, thank them, for they have just revealed they are not meant to walk your path. Then turn and walk forward, alone if necessary, but forward nonetheless. To wait for permission is to surrender your life to someone else's authority. It is to place your destiny in the hands of those who cannot even manage their own. Why would you wait for their approval? What do they know of your vision, your hunger, your fire? The answer is nothing. They do not carry your purpose. You do. Now understand this. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Each day you delay, fear grows stronger and you grow weaker. But each time you act, without apology, without explanation, you gain power, you gain momentum, you become the master of your life, and that is what this world needs. Masters, not servants. Leaders, not followers. Creators, not imitators. Do not allow the shadows of other people's limitations to dim the light of your own spirit. Your time is now. Your life is yours. Your dreams are sacred. You do not need to justify them. You need only pursue them with boldness. So rise, move, speak, build, lead without waiting, without doubting, without seeking anyone's blessing. Give yourself permission, and watch how the universe bends in response. Watch how doors open where there were none. Watch how your life begins to shape itself around your will. The man who stops waiting becomes unstoppable. And when you finally act without seeking permission, you won't just change your life, you'll become the proof that it can be done. The greatest discovery a man can make is that the power to transform his life has always resided within him, not in the approval of others, not in the circumstances that surround him, not in the resources he lacks or the obstacles he faces. The real power, the power to rise, to create, to become lives within the folds of his own mind and spirit. It is there, waiting, dormant, perhaps, but never absent. The problem is not that men lack the tools to build their destiny. It is that they fail to recognize that the tools are already in their possession. They wait, eyes scanning the horizon, hoping someone will arrive with the map, the key, the magic answer, but that someone never comes. And so they live in quiet frustration, wondering why their lives do not reflect the greatness they feel within. But hear this truth and let it settle deeply within your soul. You are the architect of your fate. You are the captain of your ship. You are the master of your inner world, and by mastering that, you gain dominion over your outer world. No man ever climbed the mountain of success until he first conquered the valleys of doubt that existed in his own mind. You see, the world is not withholding anything from you. It is not conspiring against you. The universe does not operate on favoritism. It operates on law, and the law is this: what you believe, you become. What you act upon, you manifest. What you expect with confidence, you attract. But only when you move with the belief that you are worthy of it, and that belief must begin with you. You do not need the world to hand you power. It cannot, for the simple reason that the world did not give it to you in the first place. Power is not something granted. It is something claimed. It is something unearthed from the depths of your own being. It grows as you grow. It strengthens as you act. It multiplies as you trust it. There is a force within you that responds to decision. When you finally say, enough, when you say, I will rise, something shifts. Not just in the external world, but in your very nature. You awaken a part of yourself that has been sleeping. You spark a fire that begins to burn through fear, through inertia, through every excuse that has kept you stuck. This is not fantasy. This is not mere inspiration. This is truth that has governed the lives of every man and woman who has created anything worthwhile. They looked within and found something that said, I can. And once they believed that, once they operated from that core truth, the world began to reflect their inner conviction. But understand, the world will test you. It will not surrender easily. When you dare to move without waiting for permission, resistance will rise. You will be met with doubt from those who do not see what you see. You will be ridiculed, misunderstood, even condemned, and yet none of that matters, because you are not here to seek consensus. You are here to walk a path only you can walk. The voice of power within you must become louder than the voices of fear around you. You must feed it daily, through thought, through action, through relentless belief. Starve your doubts, starve your excuses. Feed your inner flame with vision, with purpose, with decision. You are not helpless. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of fate. You are a creator, and every second you waste looking outward for validation is a second stolen from the life you could be building. Decide now to reclaim that time. Decide now to reclaim that power. Turn inward. Look deeply. Strip away every lie that has told you you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. Those lies were planted by fear, and fear has no place in the heart of a man who knows who he is. The day you realize that everything you seek lies within you is the day your life begins to change. You no longer move like a beggar, you walk like a king. You no longer ask, can I? You declare, I will. And when you move from that place of inner authority, the world cannot help but move with you, for power, once awakened, cannot be denied. So take your stand. Plant your feet, claim your ground, and begin, now today, to act like the force you were born to be. The world is not waiting, and neither should you. Action is the great equalizer. It erases doubt, it silences fear, and it breathes life into every dream you have ever dared to imagine. One man may possess superior knowledge, another greater resources, but the man who acts despite having neither holds the advantage, for while others are still thinking, still planning, still doubting, he has already taken the first step. And with that single step, the game begins to change. There is a law as old as time itself. Nothing changes until you do, and change is not born of thought alone. It is born of action. It is the doing, the daring, the moving forward in spite of uncertainty that causes the soil of life to yield its riches. The man who acts gains knowledge the thinker will never find. He earns confidence the hesitant can only dream of. He becomes through motion a vessel of progress and power. Understand this, action is not simply movement. It is deliberate motion guided by desire, fueled by belief, and sustained by discipline. It does not matter how small the action may be. A single, well-placed drop of water begins to wear down the stone. So it is with your effort. One phone call, one decision, one morning awakened with purpose. These are not trivial. They are the seeds of transformation. The man who changes his life is not the one who waits for a guarantee. He He is the one who dares to begin without it. He understands that clarity comes through movement, not before it. He does not sit in the shadows hoping for the perfect plan. He creates the plan as he walks the path. Each step he takes illuminates the next. This is how life works. It rewards the one who shows faith through action. There is immense power in momentum. Once you move, your mind follows. Your body follows, your environment begins to bend. You send a signal, not just to yourself, but to the universe, that you are serious, that you are committed, that you will no longer be a spectator in your own life. Those who wait for the right time are always overtaken by those who move with the time they have. Waiting is a slow poison. It kills ambition quietly. Every moment spent doubting could be spent building. Every second spent hesitating could be used creating, but the man of action knows this. He understands that success is never an accident. It is the result of intention multiplied by execution. He does not fear mistakes, because he knows that errors are proof he is moving. And from every misstep he learns, from every fall he rises stronger. He sees failure not as the end, but as feedback, as correction, as refinement, and so he embraces it, knowing that each act brings him closer to mastery. What separates the successful from the unsuccessful is not talent, not luck, not even intelligence. It is persistence through action, the willingness to do today what others postponed for tomorrow. The resolve to keep moving when the path grows dark, when the results seem distant, when the voices around you whisper, "It's not working," but you must ignore those voices. You must walk with faith, even when the destination is unclear. You must trust the process, even when progress is slow, because what you are building is not just a life. It is a legacy, and legacies are built in silence, through sweat, through sacrifice, through 1,000 small actions unseen by the world, but known by your spirit. When you take consistent action, you become unstoppable, not because the world makes it easy for you, but because you have trained yourself not to stop. Discipline becomes your companion, focus becomes your ally, and together they carry you where others feared to tread. So begin. Start now. Do not wait for the approval of others, for the stars to align, for the fear to vanish. They may never come, but your opportunity is now. Your power is now. Your future waits on the other side of what you are willing to do today. Move, and you will see the world move with you. Act, and you will unlock a force greater than anything you could imagine. Life responds not to hesitation, but to determination. And once you understand this truth, you will never sit idle again. You will rise each day with a mission in your heart and motion in your limbs. For you will have become a man of action, and that, my friend, changes everything. Within every man lives two opposing forces, the voice of courage and the voice of compliance. One whispers possibility, the other screams comfort. One urges him to rise, the other begs him to remain as he is, and between these two voices his future is decided. The man who chooses courage begins to live. The man who chooses compliance begins to decay. You were not born to blend into the background of life. You were not made to obey the limitations others placed upon you. You were not designed to walk carefully through your days, avoiding risk, protecting reputation, and fearing rejection. That is not life. That is survival. And survival, while noble in crisis, is a disgrace when it becomes a way of life. There comes a moment when a man must choose to listen, not to the world outside him, but to the quiet whisper within. That whisper does not shout. It does not command, it does not insist, it simply speaks truth, and the tragedy is that most men never hear it, not because it is not speaking, but because they have trained themselves to listen instead to the noise of the crowd. The crowd says, "Be realistic." The whisper says, "Be bold." The crowd says, "Play it safe." The whisper says, "Take the leap." The crowd says, "Wait until you're ready." The whisper says, "You are ready now." And here is the great secret, that whisper is your true self. It is the voice of the man you were meant to become, calling you forward, but it will not force you. It will not drag you into greatness. You must choose to follow it, and the choosing takes courage. It is easier to comply. It is easier to do what you're told. It is easier to stay within the lines, to follow the script, to avoid criticism. But ease is not the path of fulfillment. Ease never shaped character. Ease never made a leader, a builder, a champion. Only courage does that. Only the willingness to break away from the expected, to walk alone if necessary, to step into the unknown with nothing but faith in your heart. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means you move forward in spite of it. It means you understand the fear and yet choose to walk past it. It means you do not let the fear sit in the driver's seat of your destiny. You nod to it, you acknowledge it, but you never obey it. The compliant man believes he is safe. He believes that if he just keeps his head down and follows the rules, life will reward him with security. But life is not governed by the rules of safety. It is governed by the laws of expansion, and expansion only rewards the bold. Look at the men who have built empires, who have changed history, who have shaped industries, ideas, and nations. None of them were compliant. They were daring. They were rebellious. They were willing to risk rejection, to be ridiculed, to be doubted. Why? Because they believed the whisper. They believed in their own vision. And that belief gave them the courage to move when everyone else stood still. You must learn to do the same when your heart speaks. Listen when your intuition stirs. Follow it when your vision calls. Obey it. Not because it is easy, but because it is right. That whisper will never lead you toward regret. It will only lead you toward growth, toward power, toward purpose. You cannot live a life of meaning by mimicking the lives of others. You cannot create something extraordinary by obeying the ordinary. If you want to live fully, you must be willing to look fear in the eye and say, "You do not own me." You must be willing to disappoint the crowd to fulfill your calling. You must be willing to walk alone, to be misunderstood, to face resistance, and still choose courage, and when you do, something begins to happen. The voice of courage grows louder, the voice of compliance weakens. Your steps become surer, your actions bolder, and soon you are no longer moved by the opinions of others. You are moved by the fire within you. That is when your life begins to change, not slowly but rapidly. Because courage is magnetic, it draws strength to you, it draws people to you, it draws opportunity to you, and you begin to realize that the greatest risk was never following the whisper, it was ignoring it. So I say to you now, walk boldly, live courageously, listen to the whisper, obey your own spirit. Let the world call you reckless if it must. For it is better to be called reckless while building a legacy than to be called obedient while living a lie. There is a misconception that has ruined more dreams than failure ever could. It is the belief that one must be fully prepared before beginning, that everything must be perfect, the timing, the finances, the knowledge, the support. And so men wait. They wait for a sign. They wait for clarity. They wait for a guarantee, and in their waiting, their dreams die a quiet, unnoticed death. But the truth is this: you must begin before you feel ready. You must move before the road is clear. You must leap while fear still clutches at your chest and doubt whispers in your ear. If you wait for everything to be aligned, you will never take the first step. Because life does not deliver certainty, it delivers opportunity, and opportunity rarely arrives dressed in perfection. The builders of great enterprises, the shapers of history, the authors of progress, they all started with far less than they needed. They lacked the credentials, they lacked the connections, they lacked the map, but they began anyway, and because they began, the path began to reveal itself, not before, but after they moved. You see, the most important ingredient in achievement is not information, it is decision. It is resolve. It is the willingness to act without permission and the determination to figure it out along the way. The man who starts now will always outperform the man who prepares forever, because while one is learning in theory, the other is learning in action. Inaction is the greatest teacher of them all. You must rid yourself of the idea that you need more to begin. What you need is already within you. Your desire, your imagination, your will, these are your raw materials. Everything else can be acquired along the journey. The skills can be learned. The mentors will appear. The mistakes will instruct. But none of this is available to the man who does not start. Understand that perfection is a trap. It does not exist, and to chase it before you begin is to chain yourself to stillness. Excellence, yes, that is worthy, but perfection, that is fear wearing a mask. It says, wait until you know more. It says, what if you fail? It says, you're not quite there yet. And each time you listen to it, your courage grows weaker. But when you begin, when you say, I may not know everything, but I will learn what I must, something powerful awakens inside you. You engage your mind. You test your strength. You call forth your creativity, and the universe itself begins to respond, not to your plans, but to your movement. There is magic in momentum. When you commit fully, doors open that you could not see before. Resources appear that had been hidden. People are drawn to your fire. Why? Because the world does not reward preparation. It rewards boldness. It rewards the man who is willing to go first, to step out while others are still measuring the wind. And yes, you will make mistakes, you will stumble, you will face moments of uncertainty, but these are not signs to stop. They are signs that you are alive, engaged, becoming. Mistakes are not the opposite of success. They are the path to it. Each one holds a lesson, a refinement, a redirection. Embrace them, learn from them, grow through them. Do not ask, am I ready? That question serves no purpose. Ask instead, am I willing? Am I willing to take the leap? Am I willing to learn along the way? Am I willing to become the man my vision requires? Because that is the real work. Not building the thing, but building yourself. And you can only do that by doing. Reading alone will not do it. Planning alone will not do it. Only action has the power to transform you. So start the business, begin the book, launch the project, make the call, send the message, take the risk. Not next week, not tomorrow, today, in this moment, because the longer you delay, the more power you give to your fear, and the more you act, the more that fear fades into dust. Remember, all great men once stood where you stand now, uncertain, unqualified, and uncomfortable. But they chose to move, and that single decision to begin before they were ready was the decision that changed everything. Let it be the same for you. There is a sacred truth the world will never shout from its rooftops. It is this: your vision was given to you and you alone. It was not placed into the minds of your friends. It was not delivered to your family, your neighbors, or your colleagues. It was whispered into your spirit, etched into the depths of your imagination, and entrusted to your will. Therefore, it is not only a gift, it is a responsibility, and that responsibility demands your courage, for if you do not move toward your vision, no one will. If you do not honor it with action, it will wither. If you do not defend it from the opinions of others, it will die a silent, invisible death inside you. And that, my friend, is one of life's greatest tragedies, not the loss of life, but the loss of purpose before death ever comes. You must understand this. The world will not understand your dream. That is not its role. It did not receive the calling. You did. Others may mock it, dismiss it, or attempt to reduce it to something that makes sense to their small thinking. Let them. You are not here to convince them. You are here to create, and those who create are often misunderstood in the beginning. You are not obligated to explain what lives in your heart. In fact, most people couldn't comprehend it if you tried. They are too entangled in their own fears to recognize the fire burning in someone else, and so they will project those fears onto you. They will say, be careful, that's risky, no one's done that before. But what they're really saying is, I could never do that, so why should you? If you allow their fear to become your reality, you will forfeit your birthright. You will trade greatness for acceptance, and make no mistake, acceptance is a poor substitute for fulfillment. It may keep you comfortable, but it will never make you proud. It may keep you safe, but it will never make you come alive. Your vision does not require applause. It requires commitment. It does not require understanding. It requires relentless pursuit. You must become so obsessed with what you are building that the world's approval becomes irrelevant. That's when you know you're on the right path, when your actions are fueled by purpose and not by applause. Every visionary in history has walked this lonely road. They saw what others could not. They heard what others would not. They believed what others refused to, and because they were willing to walk alone, they eventually led the crowd. The man who seeks validation will always remain behind the man who moves with conviction. Conviction is born from the inner knowing that what you are building matters, even if no one sees it, even if no one applauds it, even if no one believes in it. Yet, for that is the test, will you believe when no one else does? Will you keep showing up, keep grinding, keep moving forward when all you have is your faith? The answer must be yes. It must be yes every single day, because if you do not believe in your vision, no one else ever will. Belief is the spark that lights the fire, action is the fuel that keeps it burning, and consistency is the wind that spreads the flame across everything you touch. But beware, every time you hesitate, your vision dims. Every time you second guess, your power weakens. Every time you let someone else's opinion carry more weight than your own intuition, you take a step away from who you are meant to become. You must become ruthless in your commitment to your vision. Guard it like a treasure, build it like a fortress, fight for it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does, for when a man loses sight of his vision, he begins to decay. He becomes a shell of who he once dreamed of being. And no external success can fill that void. So protect the vision, not with words but with action, not with debate but with discipline. Let your life become the proof, let your results become the roar. Let your legacy speak so loudly that the very people who once doubted you will have no choice but to witness what belief, action, and purpose can truly create. The vision was given to you for a reason. Honor it, follow it, build it. Let the world catch up when it's ready, but never wait for it. You are the builder, you are the vessel, you are the fire. Move forward as though it is already done, because the moment you do, it begins.